The gentlewoman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Swalwell, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I came to Congress to help people, not to hurt people. And this shutdown is hurting innocent Americans. This past Sunday, I flew back home because Congress was not in session. We were not voting on Sunday. So I took a flight home to California to meet with my constituents in my congressional district. I held a town hall. I held it at Dublin City Hall. Dublin City Hall is where I served as a city council member. Dublin is also home to many federal employers. And in my congressional district, we have 4,000 federal employees, plus a number of government contractors who work at Lawrence Livermore and Sandia National Laboratories. I also held it at Dublin City Hall because for 2 years as a city council member, I worked in that chamber day in, day out to make sure that we provided a balanced budget. We provided a 2-year budget. It's so frustrating for me here in the Congress that we provide budgets that are only 45 or 60 days at a time, and across America, our city councils are thinking big and thinking forward and balancing their budgets while taking measured investments in the future. So we gathered the community of California's 15th Congressional District at Dublin City Hall, and we had over 150 people attend. The room was filled with fear and anxiety. Federal workers were in the room, worried about what this was going to mean for their personal income, for their family, for their household bills. Even though federal workers in my district have been furloughed, their bills have not been furloughed. The home lenders are still calling, asking where the mortgage is going to be. Their auto loans are still going to be due. Their credit card statements will still arrive. If they have kids in college, they're still going to have to pay tuition. The federal employees told me about the stress that they're living under, either not being able to work, or even worse, being told that they have to work, but they're not going to receive their paycheck right now. In fact, we were reminded in this very chamber just last week how stressful that can be when the Capitol Hill police, who stand guard here at democracy's door, who protect the people's house, rush to aid the members of Congress and the employees who work in this building as an erratic driver drove into a barricaded area just outside the Capitol grounds. And those Capitol Hill police are working to protect us, but they're doing so without pay. So I heard stories just like that in my congressional district from the employees in our district who are very scared about what's going to happen next. And we learned that this is affecting people who work not just inside government, but also outside government. Inside government, we have employees at Camp Parks Reserve Forces Training Area, the NASA facility in Dublin. We also have a women's federal prison. Outside government, we have government contract employees, about 6,500 of them at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, about 1,500 of them at Sandia National Laboratory. And they told us that if the government shutdowns continues, they may be furloughed within the next 10 days. Most strikingly, the Republicans who attended expressed their concern, as we have heard in this chamber, about the Affordable Care Act. And I understand that. But not a single Republican who attended told me or told our other constituents that they believed that their concerns over the Affordable Care Act were worth prolonging this government shutdown. There were also concerns about, well, why don't we just get some of the government up and running, like some of the bills that we passed last week, but the Senate won't take up. And I told my constituents, I will not support any bill that pits any constituency against each other. We saw bills that pitted veterans against seniors, sick children against the poor. It is time to get the government up and running for everybody. And veterans who attended our town hall agreed. They serve this country to make sure that the government works for everybody, not just for the veterans who served it. I'm inspired, and I told my constituents that I have hope in a freshman group that continues to gather a couple times each week that we're here during the shutdown crisis, called the United Solutions Caucus. It's about 15 members on the Republican side and 15 on the Democratic side, freshman members of Congress who are meeting and talking about what we can do to work together. So finally, to my colleagues across the aisle, I ask you this, respectfully. Did you come to Congress to help people, or did you come to Congress to hurt people? If you came here to help, just like I did, then I think you know what to do next. Turn on the lights of the government that runs the greatest democracy in the world, and let's get America working again. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back.